Chat, I wanted to talk about one more thing today, and this one is a much happier story. So, we talked about a few weeks ago whether or not lab-grown meat would be considered vegan. At some point, if you're taking one original culture of meat that you got from an animal, and then you keep using that culture of meat to scientifically reproduce and make cultured meat over and over and over again, how much do you need to produce in order for people to not feel like they are... It's kind of like a philosophy question. Yeah, but it's also just like a lot of people with the meat thing, it's a lot about like consent. It's a lot about consent, and the animal obviously didn't consent for you to take its meat, but also with the amount that you could take from an animal, you can take it while they're alive and they do not die. And then you could make cultures of meat off of that. So you don't even have to slaughter an animal in the first place in order to then get the animal. In something like a chicken, you probably do, but in like a cow, in order to get lab-grown beef, you don't have to kill the cow in order to get enough beef, or horse, something like that, in order to get enough meat to then reproduce it in a lab, essentially. And we've talked about the fact that we can make lab-grown meat right now. We can do that. That is a possibility to make. It's just not been able to be made at scale, and it's never gotten approved for sale until now. The first ever FDA-approved cell-cultured product is hitting the menu at an Oregon restaurant. Very exciting, extremely exciting. It is lab-grown salmon, and it is being sold at a restaurant called Con, which is a Haitian restaurant in Portland, Oregon. And I looked up the prices because I was very curious of what it would be. And they don't have the prices on their website. And they don't have this specific menu item. I can't find it anywhere, so it's probably just a picture hasn't been taken yet of the menu. But their main courses go for like, a salad is like $25, and the more expensive things are like $80. So I imagine that this is probably something that's gonna go for like $70+ for a dish. So it's still not affordable. It's because they only sell it like once a week on Thursdays, probably. No, I think it's something that's on their menu right now. They partnered up with Wild Type, is the company that makes it. Wild Type's cultivated salmon to our menu hits the elevated and sustainable marks we want our menu to offer our guests who share a similar value to ours. It's in the article. Oh, is it really? Oh, it is only appearing on Con's menu on Thursday nights in June, but it will be available every day in July. It is also set to debut in 4 more restaurants over the coming 4 months. Dude, if one shows up in Denver, I'll stream it. I'll stream going and trying it. If there is lab-grown meat, I'm super duper excited. And a lot of responses to this article, because I saw this article originally on x.com. Imagine the everything app, one of the best apps on the platform, as one of the best AI platforms. I saw this originally on twitter.com. And people were obviously replying with this isn't what our country stands for. What happened to Maha? Which, if you don't know what Maha is, RFK Jr., a prominent vaccine denier, and saying that vaccines cause autism, etc., etc. Banner of Red 40 coined the slogan, "Make America Healthy Again." And one of the great things about this is that we no longer have risks of mercury and antibiotics, parasite contamination. You don't have to worry about microplastics in the salmon anymore because of the fish. You don't have to worry about the fish being mistreated because of factory farming. So it's really cool. It actually, for the people that were saying this doesn't go against the Maha movement, it actually does. Because that's a big thing that they were talking about, is mercury and antibiotics being in vaccines or food or anything. So those things are literally getting taken out because we can culture it to not have those things in it. I wonder if the ingredients are in this. To make their product, the foods company's scientists collect living cells from Pacific salmon and grow them in cell cultivators that mimic the inside of a wild fish, controlling factors like temperature, pH, and nutrients, per their website. After harvesting them, the team incorporates plant-based ingredients to make the hunk of cells taste, feel, and look like salmon fillets. So they're putting seed oils. They're putting damn seed oils. I'm actually curious if they have it like really easily listed on their website. We start with the cells from a pristine Pacific salmon. Pacific salmon are found throughout the North Pacific Ocean, and then we grow. The innovative design of our cell cultures create conditions similar to those within a wild fish. Sweet. So this is the start of lab-grown food. So, like I said, we can do lab-grown meat. We can do lab-grown meat right now. We've made lab-grown beef. We've made lab-grown salmon. We've made, I believe, lab-grown chicken as well. The thing is that we can't do it at scale yet. we can't do it at enough of a scale that it will be sellable to you, the customer. Because right now, this dish at Con is a very, very fancy restaurant that sells dishes for commonly $50 to $70 as an entree. So for them to be able to do this on their menu, I would imagine that they're going to be selling it at that price as well. That is not an affordable price yet. And so I imagine that's probably also why they started it there, because again, they cannot produce it at a scale enough that they could sell it in a $15 dish. You know what I'm saying? Don't people not want GMOs? We need to rename GMOs. We need to do the thing that we did with Obamacare. There was polls that came out during Obama's administration and even post Obama's administration that said, how much do you approve of Obamacare? And it was like 70% people said, I hate Obamacare, right? Or whatever. 70% of Republicans or whatever said, I hate Obamacare. Then they said, do you like the Affordable Care Act? And like 50% of Republicans said that they hated the Affordable Care Act, even though they're literally the exact same thing. And then when they were polled, do you like what is in the Affordable Care Act? They didn't tell them it was the Affordable Care Act. They didn't tell them it was Obamacare. They just laid out what it does. They just gave them the bullet points of what it does. 70% of Republicans liked what the Affordable Care Act did, as long as they didn't hear the talking point of what it is. And so literally, I think we should rename GMOs to something else, because genetically modifying things is something that we do all the time. Genetically modifying things is something that we do literally all the time, and it's good. Now, obviously, there are some that are bad, just like there are always some that are good, but for the vast majority, GMOs are great. I told Trump to just rename Obamacare and take credit for it. Dude, that's literally why we're telling Donald Trump right now to make a train across America, and there's talks that it might happen. We're telling him to make a train across America and call it the Trump train and put his fucking face on it so that we can get an intercontinental railroad, or an intercontinental railroad? Is it I don't know. Big train. We want big train, go across country. Big speed train. As someone in marketing and interest in psychology of new products being accepted to the mass public, I think having all of the lab-made meat be rolled out in expensive restaurants would be the best bet. Make it seem cool and exclusive so that everyone wants it, and then it can scale at a reasonable rate. I mean, we're gonna see if that's gonna work with electric cars in the next like 5-10 years, right? Because that's kind of what's happening. Things also tend to come out. Newer technology tends to be expensive at first, so it tends to only be available to people with wealth. There's research that has two groups of people to choose between two meals, meat one and vegan one, told both groups the ingredients, but marked the word vegan only for one group. The group that was told it's vegan chose overwhelmingly the meat option, while it was pretty even for the other group. Our favorite restaurant in Denver, and anybody that comes to Denver, I tell them you have to try this restaurant. It's on the expensive side. I would not say that it's like uber fancy expensive, but it's like $40 a head. So it's on the expensive side. It's like $40 a person to eat there. It's called Somebody People, and it's a vegan restaurant. All of my friends that are a little bit douchey about vegan, a little bit douchey, right? We got the dude bros. They like to watch sports on the weekends. They go, dude, that's just like, we were just eating leaves, man. And then anybody that has any sort of grace towards vegan food, go in there and they go, this is vegan? This is insane. This is crazy. And that's why it's our favorite restaurant. I don't give a shit about vegan food. Like, it's just another type of food. It makes my tummy not hurt as much because I can eat a bigger volume of it and then not feel full later on. It's great. Vegan is good. It just is harder to do, IMO, which is why vegan restaurants, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Vegan food is harder to make taste good. So the vegan restaurants have to try harder, which is why the food fucking slaps 9 times out of 10 at a good vegan restaurant. It's so good. Motherfucker will go to Applebee's and be like, this shit's good. Motherfucker, you're eating 90% oil boiled and it's just forming a crust. That's what you're eating, man. And you're saying it's good. Yeah, it's good. I love oil too, with a little bit of salt on top. But at a vegan restaurant, you know what they have to do? They have to try. They gotta glaze shit. If you're ever in Syracuse, Newark Stronghearts is the same way. Full vegan veg restaurant. That shit is fire. I'm a meat eater too. I always feel like it's shit that we have to justify that we're meat eaters, right? I love kissing my boyfriend Jason chat, but we're not gay. Like, I shouldn't have to justify that, you know? I shouldn't have to say that at the end. Please watch the video I sent you in Discord. Well, look at him. Munch. Yum, 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 yum. Dude, the dwarves are actually the cutest breed of rabbits. I'll say it. Dwarves are actually genuinely the cutest breed of rabbits. Wait, vegans are bunnies are like the most based vegans alive. Do you know why? Rabbits are the most based vegans because the only time they eat meat is when they're post-term abortioning their babies. Based? Listen, this is the #1 argument that you ever give to a transphobe when they say, we need to stick with science, okay? When they say we need to stick with science, you go, okay, listen, I don't agree that the science says that trans people don't exist, right? I don't agree with that. I think that the science actually says that gender is a social construct, and that also if you're just saying there's two sexes based on science, that's also not true. Like intersex exists, but like we don't need to go there, right? Just say, let's just say that in this world that you think that biology says that there could only be male and female. Okay, biology also says that we should murder our babies and eat them if we think that they are defective or we don't want them. So we should allow post-term abortions, because that is literally what they do in 90% of the animal kingdom. You have a baby, you don't like that baby, you kill it. That happens all the time. That's science. That's biology. Haha, funny of you to try to use logic. I'm keeping that argument. I came up with it myself and I feel really smart with it. Because I saw somebody like saying, they're like, yeah, but in biology and other animals, only male and female exist. And they're just wrong on that. But I'm saying, okay, in a world where that's what your take is, so we need to follow what animals do. That's what I'm saying. Because that's their argument. Their argument is trying to move us towards animals. They're saying in the animal world, only two genders, only two sexes. Again, wrong. But also in the animal world, if we're trying to follow what the animals do, murder babies. Rejecting trans equals baby murder. That's what I'm saying. What if they say okay to that? They're not. See, that's the thing, they're not. You think that any person that believes that trans people don't exist also believes in women's right to choose? You think that that's a common line? Yeah, but your baby murder sounds like eugenics. Okay, chat, well, my argument was really funny, and it was for the funniness of it. I'm not trying to argue whether or not it's the best argument, all right? You guys are ruining things with your actuallys. Stop actuallying me and making sense. Let me think of my funny line to say to people on Twitter that might be bots. Fuck!
He's an arsonist on a noble quest to escape the wrath of the IRS. He's got conflicting positions in the endless fight for queer folks, animal and tenants' rights. He uses his Tesla to flatten old ladies, and he's marrying someone so out of his